3 decades after Maradona, Napoli wins Serie A.
It's a better outcome for the league's top scorer.
Naples is the capital of the football world, as the team from the southern Italy city won its first Serie A title in 33 years, after coming from behind to secure a 1-1 draw against Udinese. This is the first domestic title for the team since 1990, when the late Diego Maradona led the team to the title. It's only the 3rd time Napoli has won Serie A, and the club's success sparked jubilant celebrations among the players and the entire city. The fans of Napoli packed the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium to celebrate the team's success, proving that football is religion in the city and Maradona is the football god. Napoli had a fantastic season and went to Udine with a 16-point lead over Lazio, who was in 2nd place. Napoli needed only a point to secure the title, with 4 games left to play in the season. Things didn't start well for Napoli, as Sandy Lovrik's shot gave Udinese a first-half lead, but Napoli forward Victor Osimhen made it 1-1 early in the second half, guiding the ball home after Kvicha Kvaratskhelia shot was saved following a corner. Osimhen, who is Serie A's leading goalscorer this season, has been vital to Napoli's success, and this was his 22nd league goal of the campaign. The players celebrated their success, but the real party was on the streets of Naples. Even before kickoff, Napoli fans flooded the streets of Naples, with thousands of supporters marking their way into the club's home stadium to watch the game against Udinese. Police had banned fireworks, but that didn't stop the Neapolitan sky from being lit up as soon as the game against Udinese was over. Authorities also banned car and scooter traffic from the city center in the hope of minimizing risk of public disorder. It's been 3 long decades since the team won its last title, and many generations have been waiting for this moment. The last time they won the Scudetto, most of today's Napoli players weren't even born. They all have heard of the legend whose footsteps they followed. This is the biggest day for football in Napoli since Diego Maradona left the town in 1991. It all began in the summer of 1984, when Maradona entered the stadium São Paulo after a record-breaking transfer from Barcelona. More than 75,000 Neapolitans greeted him with overwhelming warmth. At the time, the city felt like the unwanted child of Italy, and things have not changed much, almost 40 years later. Maradona's introduction, therefore, represented the beginning of a new chapter for him as a player, for Napoli as a club, and also for Naples as a city. This revolution was for a mainland southern team, and the people were ready to create history. Less than 3 years later, thanks to a gradual rebuilding project, Napoli were finally kings of Italy, winning their first ever Serie A title in the 1986-87 season. They even became the 3rd Italian team to win the double after beating Atalanta in the Coppa Italia. In the 1989-90 season, they won the 2nd title, which ended up being the last until Luciano Spalletti led the team to the crown this year. Those 3 decades were not easy at all for Napoli. A year after the 1990 title, Napoli began to unwind, with players departing, leading to a performance drop. The headline departure came when Maradona failed a drug test and left Italy in disgrace after being handed a 15-month ban. Following years of steady decline, the club was relegated from Serie A after claiming a misery 14 points from 34 games in the 1997-98 season. Only 8 years after being crowned Italian champion, Napoli was in the 2nd tier. The disappointment didn't end there. Despite a small respite back in the top flight in the 2000-2001 season, the club was immediately relegated after their first season back in Serie A, before the club was declared bankrupt for the 2nd year in a row, which saw it relegated to the 3rd tier of Italian football in 2004. That was the first time the team played in the 3rd league since its establishment in the 1920s. The team hit rock bottom, but they could count on the supporters even then. Napoli's fans never turned their back on the team and believed the glory days would be back. The savior was the famous movie producer Aurelio De Laurentiis, who stepped in to rescue the club to establish stability and return to former glories. And De Laurentiis made good on his promises, bringing Napoli back into the best Italian league in 3 years and into European competitions in the 2nd year back in Serie A. De Laurentiis' no-nonsense approach to running the club has brought success and tension. Fans and De Laurentiis have been at loggerheads about new proposed ticket prices, but it is all forgiven after he brought the team back on top of Italian football. In the 16 years since the club's return to Serie A, Napoli fans have seen some of Europe's best players grace the Diego Armando Maradona stadium pitch, from Edison Cavani and Higuain to Dries Mertens and Marek Hamsik, as well as rotating cast of elite managers. Walter Mazzarri, Rafael Benitez, Maurizio Sarri, and Carlo Ancelotti have all had stints on Napoli's bench. The proud fans were happy to see the team becoming competitive on the European scene, but the dream for the Scudetto was still the priority. In the past 10 years, they have come close, as Napoli has finished in second place 4 times, and they managed to take the final step with Luciano Spalletti, who took over the coaching job in 2021. He wasn't the fan favorite when he stepped in, as they expected a proven winner to take over the club and lead them back to the throne. In October 2021, soon after he took over the team, Luciano Spalletti had his vehicle stolen. The Fiat Panda was stolen in Corso Vittorio Emanuele, in front of the Britannique Hotel where he stays. Spalletti filed a police report, and no further information about the car was ever received until today. Napoli fans left a poster letting it be known that they were the ones who stole Spalletti's car. 16-10-21. Spalletti will give you back your Panda as long as you leave. Signed, The Thieves. Reads the poster that was placed in the vicinity of Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. However, the coach didn't seem to give much importance to the situation, and in a press conference he assured, "We are doing our job in the right way. I will definitely remain Napoli's coach next year." Spalletti knew what he was doing. The team wasn't competitive in going after the best players in the world, but still managed to bring in a group of guys who gathered with one goal only, and that is to win the Serie A title. The right choices have allowed Spalletti to do his best to give added value to a squad that has been modeled piece by piece in the last 3 years. In this context, it is easy to see the surge in the prices of the entire group. Suffice it to say that at the beginning of the season, the overall estimate just broke through the wall of 500 million euros, while now it can comfortably reach 650. Obviously, Napoli has no intention of impoverishing this heritage. On the contrary, they intend to renew the player base to give continuity to a winning period. Yet, flattery is present, especially for top players like Victor Osimhen. If, at the beginning of the season, there was talk of a quotation of 90 to 100 million euros for the Nigerian, or at most 120, now the blue club sets a clear price, no less than 150. It is a consolidated tactic to try to keep the jewel of greater caliber, but the summer will inevitably bring the typical turbulence of the big market. The case will be the same with Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, which cost just 10 million euros and is now hovering around 100. In De Laurentiis' idea, Kvara must stay at least another year, and that's why work is underway upon renewal of the contract. Then there are all the other talents of a roster that Spalletti has shaped excellently. Everything is already known about the season's Zielinski and Lozano. Their contracts expire in 2024, and they will probably end up on the market. A different story for Lobotka, paid 16 million and then became a masterful conductor of the Blue Orchestra. Everything will be done to hold him back, even if temptations are not lacking for him either. The Korean Kim has a separate role in his gallery, who arrived for around 20 million after the tug-of-war with Rennes. His international value has grown rapidly, even if a clause of about 50 million could lead him to pack his bags immediately.